Hello, 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 everyone.
Hey.
It is time. We are 10 minutes away. Mike Straw here. Grant Taylor. Hell.
In his glory.
In
all his glory.
We'll be joined as well by A to the P, Albert Perkins, here soon. Yep. Hot mic. They heard it. I thought my mic was muted. And I burped.
That could have been worse, though. So you
it could have been.
You got off lightly.
They all heard it, but we are here to talk Xbox. They still haven't posted anything. We're assuming it's going to be a live premiere because there's no way they just post the whole video and say, here you go.
I think that's what they're going to do.
I can't do it because then people are just going to skip to the end and see if they got that one big moment, one big surprise thing going on.
How is it? How are we putting it up? Is it going to be on here, or do I have to watch it myself?
Oh no, it's going to be on here. We're all good. It's going to be.
This is a professional setup over here.
No, it's going to be here. I just got no background graphic because the graphic I had doesn't want to format around the screen properly. So I'm sitting here just going, all right, guess we're not doing that for now. But
it's IG purple. It's on brand. It's
exactly. We have the colors.
It's on theme.
See, people understand. We're all humans. We're good. It's good. And it was delicious lemon lime soda, but they're not paying me, so you don't get to know the brand.
Oh no, I thought I had it. Wait.
Oh crap. Oh, no. Then I go to take a sip and I take my hand off the label.
I'm on the 7-Up, the 7-Up thing, so
I love me some 7-Up.
We're kind of the same.
Yeah. I don't even know where I got this from. I think I stole it from my mother's home.
Advocating for these beverages right now. I'm not paid for these ads right now.
No, the only advertiser I have is nothing. Actually, nothing. We're not paying for. We have no advertisers here at the moment. I was trying to think. I'm like, do we have anything? We have nothing at the moment, but we'll get there. So while we're about 8 minutes or so away from when it's supposed to drop.
Yeah. For
those of you tuning in, if you haven't yet, make sure you're subscribed. Leave a like on this. This is kind of a test run, a pilot of doing these types of watch-alongs and streams, especially as we move forward and more big events come up. We might be doing more of these. We dropped a great interview. I'm biased, so it's great, with iRacing President Tony Gardner last week. We have been dropping daily list videos. We have another interview coming with the CEO of Steel City Interactive, Ash Habib. That I'm recording tomorrow. It will be going live Monday about undisputed boxing. We have a lot of things coming up. We basically have kind of soft launched the YouTube channel, and this is the first test on the streaming side of things.
The first ever?
I've done a few, but this is the first watch along one. I've done a few where it's just me talking.
This is my first time here.
Yes, everybody gets to see.
This is rare because
everybody gets to see the guy who makes people mad with his fallout and hot takes.
Hot takes, man. Every day of the week.
So we're about 5 minutes or 6 minutes away. What do you think? Are you expecting anything major? I have my ideas. You and I have seen the rumblings behind the scenes of what's being talked about, what's expected. Did you have any predictions on things?
No. I mean, what people have been talking about earlier on today in the last couple of days, like the whole, there was a piece about there is a Call of Duty coming, or a confirmation of Call of Duty's coming this year. There was like a confirmation of sorts about.
Which we all knew.
Exactly.
Call of Duty coming. If you don't know, we've had the exclusives on what this is going to have over at Insider Gaming, insider-gaming.com. You have had that.
We've been breaking that left, right, and center. All kinds of topics.
Look at that. We have that right there on the bottom of the screen. It's all ready to go.
Oh man! but then they were talking about, was it Phil Spencer was saying how Xbox is going to keep making hardware, they're going to keep pushing out consoles and stuff, and I mean they're obviously leaning much more into like cloud-based stuff too. We don't know what's happening with the project. What's the name of the cloud-based console that they shelved and then kind of didn't? Can't remember what it was called.
Me neither. It's going to bother me.
It was a project something, and they shelved it. And then when they had the FTC leak last year, it came out that it was kind of still Keystone. Redstone.
I mean, there was Project xCloud, but I don't know if that's the same thing.
Keystone rings a bell. Something Stone, whichever. So they said that maybe that's going to be a thing. So I can see them leaning more into that. I don't know if they'll announce anything like that today, but people are expecting all sorts. But what is it? A couple of minutes long? 4 or 5 minutes long? I think
I don't know. They're saying it's a full podcast because it's going to be Phil Spencer. It's going to be Phil Spencer. Okay. It's going to be Sarah Bond, and it's going to be Matt Booty. Like the 3 biggest names on the Xbox side.
I thought it was like
going to be there.
I thought it was just minutes. I thought it was literally like a snippet of them just saying everything's cool. Here's some reveals, and that's kind of it because they had to push it up, didn't they? They had this in the
they had to push it up because everything kind of went crazy with. Oh man, Starfield's going to PlayStation. Nah, never mind.
Yeah.
What else?
Nope, got it wrong.
Indiana Jones is going to PlayStation. Maybe. Never mind. It was
Gears
all these people coming in. And now we're joined by the third man. And we might have something to say about what the 3 of us are going to be doing after this is all done, depending how long it goes. Maybe we'll drop a little tease on a future project we're working on.
We're working on a future project?
Oh, we are.
Yes, we are. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
A to the B, Albert Perkins, looking the best out of all of us, Mr. I got proper lighting. I have 2 key lights, and they like to flicker. So you'll see.
Look at the soft background and everything is fantastic. Superb, man.
Thanks, Grant. Appreciate that. What's going on, Mike? What's happening, fellas?
I notice I really hate being bald because I just see the glare coming off my dome. And hold on, we have a question in the chat. We got a couple minutes before this gets started. It's supposed to get started. You're at Insider Gaming. Tom Henderson is the man who writes every single article and he's in here. He's watching.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying this. He writes every single article in the history of games journalism. The history. He has no idea who he is.
The only trustable source left.
100%. Apparently. And it's at Insider Gaming. So, it's exactly what it should be. So we're still waiting. I'm kind of surprised they didn't put something up and do a premiere thing and have everybody in there. But I kind of have a feeling they're just gonna be like, all right, it's 3:00. Publish. And then let everybody go insane.
Pick it to pieces.
It's gonna be something else.
For everything that's announced or everything that's mentioned, we are going to have full stories at Insider Gaming pretty much quickly. I have literally the text editor open, ready to go while we're talking. And Tom makes a good point. No premiere to stop YouTube employees leaking. And I'm pretty sure that's exactly what happened with the Grand Theft Auto trailer.
Yeah. Yeah, no question.
So now we're just waiting.
Yeah. I have complete coverage of this as well tomorrow for Insider Weekly. I'm sure this is going to be the number one thing I talk about whenever I kick off the show when it drops tomorrow for sure.
And what do you think's gonna happen? Something's going to be said. I think here's the biggest prediction: 100% is going to happen. Okay, something's going to be said. Someone's going to take it out of context and completely fabricate what it means.
That's almost the guarantee.
It's going to have to put it down. That's, I think, the worst. This response to this question: what's the worst that can happen today? This is it. Someone is going to completely take something out of context and fabricate it.
Definitely. Yep. I would be shocked if people don't take this out of context, based on what they say here today. It's going to be interesting. We'll find out in about 60 seconds.
It's that time already. You said 8 minutes 3 minutes ago. What happened to
unless they go and lie and they're like, "Nah, we're just kidding." And then we're all just sitting here.
It's just Phil Spencer and psych, and that's it. And credits roll.
Finger guns. Here we go. Misinformation on the internet? Nah, never. Yeah, we had it's 3:00. We're waiting on it. Still ain't up yet, because it's got to be up prompt. But we had the leaks of the town hall come out overnight or yesterday about them. Yeah, basically saying Xbox is on every screen. That's kind of what we know.
And
So it feels like, I don't know, it feels like internally or what they told employees right now, at least with what's come out, nothing that no one already knew. Like you were saying earlier, Grant, like everything is kind of no.
Yeah, everyone's got their suspicions and expectations, haven't they? As always.
My suspicion is that it's still not up yet, and they forgot to hit publish.
Nightmare.
Up here we go. It is 22 minutes long.
Oh, okay, that's not so bad.
Okay.
We have
that's
it.
light
We
work,
are
that's
ready
okay.
to go.
Excellent.
We have the sound. Let's see how it goes.
Hello and welcome to the official Xbox podcast. I'm your host, Tina Amini, and we have a very special episode today, as you can probably tell by the fact that I'm joined by Phil, Sarah, and Matt. Welcome. And we're going to talk about some updates at Xbox. We want to talk about game exclusivity. We want to talk about Activision Blizzard now that they're part of our portfolio, how that might be an impact on Game Pass. And we want to talk about hardware too and how all of this fits the strategy at Xbox. So where should we start, Phil?
I think it's going now.
Well,
Yeah, it's all good.
when we originally had planned for the show, starting back in December, I think we probably would have started with Activision Blizzard, maybe talked a little bit about the exclusivity with some of the news coming up, and then hardware. But we've had some unforeseen news that has come out. So let's just go and tackle the exclusivity question, because I know it's on the minds of a lot of people. We hear from the community, and that's an important input for us. So we made the decision that we're going to take 4 games to the other consoles, just 4 games, not a change to our kind of fundamental exclusive strategy. We're making these decisions for some specific reasons. We make every decision really with the long-term health of Xbox in mind. And long-term health of Xbox means a growing platform, our games performing, building the best platform for creators, reaching as many players as we can. We're always looking to learn as a leadership team and to grow. And we think this is an interesting point in time for us to use what some of the other platforms have right now to help grow our franchises. So we're going to do that.
So these 4 titles, what are they? Can you say?
I'm not going to name those games. The teams that are building those games have announced plans that are not too far away. As we know, game teams put a lot of energy into their announcements with the partners. So I don't want to take anything away from those teams. So I won't be talking about the titles specifically, but I think when they come out.
Oh, we have it based on what the Verge says, but we'll
Can we say
talk about
if
that in a
either
minute.
of those titles are Starfield or Indiana Jones?
They are not Starfield or Indiana Jones.
Well, what was the criteria in how the team was thinking about selecting those 4 titles?
Let me start a little bit outside of that, and then I'll get to the 4 specific games that we're talking about right now. Because the fundamental decision driver for any decision that we make, anything we're going to talk about today, is the long-term health of Xbox. That we're running a growing platform that is reaching more players, that our games are having as much success as possible. And I do have a fundamental belief that over the next 5 or 10 years, exclusive games that are exclusive to one piece of hardware, are going to be a smaller and smaller part of the game industry. And that's not some great insight, because if you look at the last 10 years and what the biggest games are today, it's a natural place. Whether it's one console and PC, multiple consoles, mobile console and PC, you see big games landing on multiple platforms. And we want to be a great platform for creators that are trying to realize that potential. But now back to the specifics of the question on these four specific titles. We looked at games that are over a year old, so they've been on Xbox and PC for a while. A couple of the games are community-driven games, new games that kind of first iterations of a franchise that have reached their full potential, I'd say, on Xbox and PC. There's always growth. Franchises that we obviously want to continue to invest in. Part of having the ability to continue to invest is that the businesses behind those franchises continue. We think it's important that these service-based games that have communities behind them, that they can have confidence that they're going to exist in the future. So 2 of them, kind of community-driven games that will end up on other platforms and give us the ability to continue to invest in them. We think that's great for the business and great for the communities, more players to play with. I'd say 2 of the other games are smaller games that were never really meant to be built as kind of platform exclusives and all the fanfare that goes around that. But games that our teams really wanted to go build, that we love supporting creative endeavors across our studios, regardless of size. And as they've realized their full potential on Xbox and PC, we see an opportunity to utilize the other platforms as a place to just drive more business value out of those games, allowing us to invest in maybe future iterations of those, so sequels to those, or just other games like that in our portfolio. And when we don't damage Xbox and we can grow our business using what other platforms have and to help us with that, we're going to do that. And that's really the story behind these 4 games. And last thing I'll say, looking forward, I think there is an interesting story for us of introducing Xbox franchises to players on other platforms to get them more interested in Xbox. We think there's a good brand value for Xbox there. So 4 games, no promise beyond that. So if you're on those other platforms and you see these 4 games coming, please don't take it as some signal that everything's coming. It's not. And we're going to learn.
So when you are thinking about the future and this concept of live service games that can benefit from bigger audiences, new audiences, how does that apply to future titles and how you're applying that criteria there?
Yeah, there's really no fundamental change to how we think about exclusivity. We just came out of Developer Direct, which was an awesome show where we showed great games that are coming to Xbox and PC and cloud, which really makes them accessible to hundreds of millions of people. So it's this kind of, we're really focused on a couple platforms and what's going to show up there. But our key of play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, when everybody plays, we all win. These have been part of our strategy for years and will continue to be. Our focus is on how do we continue to grow the games industry by reaching more players in more places, and how do we grow Xbox as part of that. Xbox is a hardware platform, Xbox is a publisher of great games, and Xbox as a platform for the world's best creators.
Mm-hmm. And then knowing that, how do we think about our first-party games and Game Pass?
Yeah, well, to build on what Phil just said, one thing I would add, when you were talking about growth, is just that we've sort of seen this inversion over the last 5 years where it used to be that the platform was the biggest thing.
That's right.
And the games would sort of tuck in within the platform. Today, big games like a Roblox or a Fortnite could actually be bigger than any one platform. And that really has changed the way that we think about things. So in the midst of all that, I think we at First Party can come back to sort of some core principles. First, that all of our games will be on the Xbox platform. Second, all of our games will go into Game Pass on day one. And third, we know that Game Pass will only be available on Xbox. So there's sort of starting points for us. As Phil mentioned, there are games today that you can play that only can be found on Xbox. And at the same time, we want to bring more of our games to more players. So we're going to continue to look at that. Kind of moving aside, though, from some of those and thinking more about what does it really mean for the player, to me, the 2 key things are cross-play and cross-save. Those things allow us to deliver on the promise of Xbox, which is play with your friends where they are, play on the devices you want, play the games you want. So that is really only possible at a practical level when you know that your saves and your player are going to be able to move across all those parts. So not all of our games today are necessarily built to take advantage of that. There still will be some games that don't. As we bring more teams into the Xbox family, there's some catch up to do as we get there. But that cross-play, cross-save is like so fundamental to what we're doing. And I think is something that we as First Party get such a good benefit from being so close to the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things, like you said, all of our games are always in Game Pass. And so I'm excited to announce, with the coming together that we had with Activision Blizzard King, that Activision and Blizzard games are coming to Game Pass, starting with Diablo 4 on March 28th, which I'm super, super excited to share today. And it's all part of our commitment to make Xbox, the Xbox experience and the games that we build as widely available as possible. So now the 34 million Game Pass members can all enjoy the fantastic experience of Diablo 4.
Amazing. Can we come back to the point, Phil, you mentioned at the top, this isn't really a change in strategy for us. Can you recap for me how it isn't?
Yeah. And I thought both Matt and Sarah did a really nice job of talking about what we're doing on Xbox, where we're going. if you take a platform feature like Xbox Play Anywhere, which has been a promise that we've made on our first party games, that you can buy our game once, you're going to get play across Xbox and Windows. I think we're the only platform that does this. That makes it possible for you not only to play with your friends wherever they are, but to know that you actually have multiple entitlements to the games. I think that's a technology I'd love to see applied to more platforms. But it is this view that people are going to play Xbox in multiple places. Whether it's play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, whether it's content, community, and cloud, whether it's when everybody plays, we all win. Like, we've had different taglines, different strategy, kind of words that we've used, but always with this view that Xbox is a platform for creators who want to reach the most players. Our investments in xCloud, our investments in franchises like Minecraft and now Call of Duty and other large franchises, so that we learn how to build those. This has been a strategy that we've been on for, I'd say, a decade. It's not about one device. It's not about games in service of a device, but rather the devices that people want to play on should be in service of making the games as big and popular as they possibly could be. Because really, a healthy creator community on Xbox, a healthy creator community in gaming all up, is the thing that all of us as game players should be voting for, because that's the thing that will lead to the best long-term success and growth in this industry.
And my understanding, just from listening and learning from you three over the past few weeks, just understanding what's happening with Xbox, is that we see trends with player behavior where people are playing on multiple devices. That is the reality. And we have put some games out on multiple platforms before. So my understanding is that that's been good for players. How does that come back to the business with all of that in mind?
Yeah, as you said, we have shipped games on other platforms. In fact, realistically, if you look with the addition of Activision and Blizzard and ZeniMax, we're one of the largest game publishers on PlayStation. We're one of the largest publishers on the Nintendo Switch, especially when you put Minecraft into the equation as well. And now we're one of the largest publishers on mobile platforms as well. And that's not something that we want to back away from. We want to continue to be building great games that millions and millions of people can love, and that they can play those games where they want to go play. But we do understand the business success that Xbox has to have. Us as leaders in this business, the system today, the system that all companies that we play video games from, is a world of, you got to be growing your business. Growth in an Xbox business is critical to the long-term health of Xbox. Many people know I've been on Xbox for over 20 years. And I want to make sure Xbox is in the best position for the next 20 years. That means healthy player community, healthy creator community, and healthy business. So when we look at opportunities to allow more people to play, more people engage, more people to buy, more people to subscribe, it's all about putting Xbox in the best position. And our hardware is a critical component of that. The absolute best experience somebody has on Xbox is hardware that your team builds and that people play on. But that's not going to be everybody. We fully accepted that we're going to have Xbox players across all kinds of devices.
So I think a lot of people think about 2023 as this incredible year for gaming. And in a lot of ways it was. There were some really amazing releases that I think we all enjoyed. But what were the signals behind the scenes that maybe indicated how we wanted to look at the future of Xbox and how we kind of keep up with the industry?
Yeah, such a good question. And I think it's, as people who care about the industry, which I assume is people who are watching this, it was an amazing year. Some great launches, some of the games that I think will stand the test of time and people will be talking about a decade from now. But it's an industry that didn't really grow. And what happens when an industry doesn't grow? You end up with some job eliminations, which we had. We had even our own hard decisions to make about building a sustainable business for ourselves, but in no way were we alone in that. When you think about a healthy industry, I want players who believe that they will find the best games on the platforms that they love. I want people who invest their careers in working here to feel like this is a place that they can be successful. And that really is down to being part of an industry that is growing. If you listen to Lisa Su, the AMD CEO, she'll say that AMD-powered consoles are likely to decline in 2024. I think there's an amazing set of games coming in 2024, but if we don't get to growing as an industry, the industry will struggle. And today there's really two choices on how do you grow the industry. Do you say, I have a fixed number of players, the players that we have today, and do I find new ways to monetize those players to get more money from the players that I have? Or do you think about how do I expand the business I have by finding new players and adding those to the base of players that already play? Our focus on Xbox for the last decade has really been on that latter point of how do we make sure Xbox is growing for our players, growing for our creators. So those people are finding success on our platform, which will grow the Xbox business and put Xbox in a position to be very strong for years and decades to come.
Matt, earlier you were talking about these growing gaming communities, how they're incredibly large and comparable on such a different level when we think about console audiences. Like you mentioned Roblox, you mentioned Fortnite. So how are we're obviously thinking about our responsibility, our hardware responsibility is supporting the growth of gaming communities. How has that actually shown up for the players? Are there other games we can speak to from our portfolio?
Well, as Phil mentioned, two of the biggest ones for us, Call of Duty and Minecraft, they are driven just from the bottom up by the communities of people that play those games, which is so great. I think about it for the player community, it comes down to where are the friends, where are the people you play with, and then equally important is where have you built up your library of games, right? Where have you invested? Where's that library? I think those two things probably are some of the biggest influences on where people choose to play and what devices they choose to play.
Yeah.
When we think about on the other side, the developer side, just any game developer wants their game to find the biggest audience possible. That's just the nature of building a game. You want people to enjoy and participate in what you've made. And I think we're in a unique position to deliver on that just because we are the platform. We build hardware. We've got a first-party games group, and then we've got a system that ties that together, that brings together your friends, your progression, your achievements, all of that. And I think that's really what has contributed to the momentum behind some of these communities.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at, just step back and you look at the history of the industry, we've moved from a place where it used to be that someone built and launched a game to accelerate hardware to actually the things we do with our hardware and with our platform are all in service of making those games bigger. And we think about that across all of the investments we make, the consoles we build, the investments we do with things like crossplay, cross progression, the things that we're doing with cloud. How do we actually give more options to game creators so they can have the greatest success? I think one of the fun recent examples about this is actually Pal World. Pal World was able to launch. They were a game preview. They launched in Game Pass. They also simultaneously launched in Steam. And through the combination of those things, Pocket Pair was able to have this outsized success. And it was the largest third-party Game Pass launch ever. And that's all because we give creators options on how they can launch their games. We've got subscription, we've got retail, we've got free-to-play, we've got game preview. We have the consoles, we have our experience on PC, and they can access all of those things. And when we step back and we just look at the performance of our platform all up, we know it's working. We're at the highest level of users on console, the highest level of users on PC, the highest level of users on cloud ever. We have double-digit growth rate on PC and cloud, places where we're enabling creators to actually reach new players beyond the console ecosystem. And that's why we're leaning into it and doing more, because we see all those signals.
So we're talking about the role that hardware plays for creators, for the games and those communities. What about the role that hardware plays for us as a business, for Xbox?
When we look at our hardware, it really is, and Phil said this earlier, it's where you get like the most flagship seminal experience of Xbox. And it also represents a developer target. Our developers can build the specs of our hardware, and we invest to make sure they know when they do that the games are going to run great on our hardware, but they're also going to be able to be accessed across any screen because of all the other investments we make. So we're giving them an easy way to access as many players as possible. And we actually have more creators right now building for Xbox than ever before thousands of them by nature of those investments. And we got more to come. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday. And we're also invested in the next generation roadmap. And what we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technical leap you will have ever seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better for players and better for creators and the visions that they're building.
And then when we're talking about hardware too, there's these other considerations that are really important to our community, probably to each one of ourselves as well. When you talk about library, because I want to dig in on that a little bit more. You know, as we talk about cloud in the wider entertainment industry, there's conversations about streaming. How is that impacting how I own my content that I've invested in? So what can we say about our stance around game preservation?
Yeah, one of the highlights for me of being in this position was getting to stand on stage when we announced back compat coming to Xbox One. Like, it was fantastic. People were reading the teleprompter before I could read it. I'm a slow reader, and just feeling the energy in the auditorium as we were saying that and online. One of the cues I think us as being part of Microsoft take is looking at Windows and how Windows over decades has maintained software compatibility with things that are built on it. Like, I can still go back and play some of the games that I love playing on Windows from decades ago, and it will still run. And we try to bring that same view to consoles. It's harder in console because the line between what the hardware is and what the game is in consoles is traditionally, it's tighter, which makes compatibility, you end up doing these generational compatibilities that we've built. But I will say compatibility, the ability to not only play the games, but my saves are still there with our cloud save systems to try to keep the services up as long as we can so that people can play, is a tenet of what we are as Xbox. It's at our foundation. And when we look at future hardware generations and what we're going to support, making sure that we respect, which is the word I use, respect the investments that people have made in Xbox going forward, is fundamental. And the fact that you get entitlements when you buy a game from us on both Windows and Xbox also means you have the ability to play that game across a multitude of devices, which I think furthers the compatibility of the games that you own.
Can we go back to what Xbox stands for today? I think we've pretty much covered all of the elements, but if you could break it down for me.
When you play on Xbox, what we're saying is you're playing on a platform where the biggest games in the world are always going to be. You're playing on a platform where you get to access Game Pass. And all of the games from our incredible range of studios will always launch in Game Pass day one. And you're playing on a platform that's dedicated to you, like player-first features, cross-play, cross-save, cross-progression, backwards compatibility, being able to play your games in your library anywhere you want because of the investments that we make in cloud gaming. And so you're playing somewhere where you're investing and you get to take the games forward with you and across all of the screens where you are. And I think most importantly, Xbox is a place where when you're investing in Xbox, you're investing somewhere that is dedicated to making games more successful and creators more successful so that they can invest more to bring even better experiences to you all of the time.
Yeah, just that investment in the studios is so, and we feel that as part of first party with the platform proximity. It's kind of amazing now to look out across all the studios we've got and just be reminded that we're now one of the biggest development organizations in the industry. What does that mean for players? It means that the biggest games are going to continue to come to Xbox. And this 2024, the year coming up, we've got more than 10 major releases coming up. Great stuff. Hellblade 2. We've got Diablo expansion. We've got Avowed, Ara, the Indiana Jones game. And there's more in development, which I think we're going to be able to share more about at our June showcase coming up pretty soon.
Well, I guess I should get ready to work on that show. Well, thank you all for showing up on the podcast today, and we'll see the rest of you this June.
Yeah.
Thanks, team.
Thank you.
Okay, they got to learn one thing: what defines a podcast. Like, I feel like that's just such a vague term at this point.
Yeah.
Is this
Two.
podcast?
Two. There was a lot to unpack there. Not what one of the things that we heard rumblings about didn't happen, so no point even mentioning going into detail there. But let's start with you, AP. What were your first initial impressions of that, of what you heard?
For me, you know what? It kind of seemed like, and someone commented down in the chat that it seemed like damage control, and I kind of agree with them. It seemed like, it's kind of like PR, just kind of, it's kind of seemed like a PR announcement, just kind of to control the damage that, people are going to have as far as reaction goes to this kind of announcement. That's kind of what I took away from it there.
What about you, Grant?
I kind of, you kind of get the impression that it was 22 minutes and there's a lot of words, but not really much was said. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't feel like there was nothing to come away. I mean, I agree with the damage control. I agree with the trying to play it safe, make the PR move, make everyone believe. Sarah Bond is great. I mean, the way she talks, commands the room, she's fantastic. But a lot of what she's saying is just like they're just trying to force feed us positivity, like the best it's ever been, the most users, the highest numbers, the most technological leaps into the future and stuff. And it's like they're saying all of this, but there's nothing tangible to take away from it. A lot of corporate speak, a lot of buzzwords, but nothing that we can really take away and go, this is confirmed, this is a definite thing. I mean, maybe, talking about the games coming onto other platforms, that's there, but we kind of already knew that, right? It was just which games are going to go across. So lots of stuff said, but nothing really said. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and they didn't mention specifically the games. We have the story up at Insider Gaming on what those 4 games are. We'll talk about it. According to The Verge, it's expected to be Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, and Grounded, with Pentiment and Hi-Fi Rush being the first 2, and then Sea of Thieves and Grounded coming later on. So that, again, not surprising. There are a couple things immediately that I've scratched my head on. One was what finally getting an update on the amount of Xbox. Like, we finally have an update on the amount of Xbox Game Pass subscribers. From 2 years ago, we got told it was 25 million. Now it's up to 34. The one thing and it was brought up in, I think someone had said something on Twitter as well. Are they counting these? Oh, it's now up 9 million. They also changed Xbox Live Gold to Xbox Game Pass Core. So technically, are they talking about paid, true Xbox Game Pass subscribers, or what they converted into Xbox Game Pass makes it that 34, which then makes that number even worse than it already sounds, because it's just taking already what you have. And then the idea that all of the best games will always be available on Xbox. Sony has something to say about that. Games like, I don't know, Spider-Man, which hit 10 million copies, Spider-Man 2. Then you have, and a lot of it has to do with the success on the PC release, but you have Helldivers 2. Like, these great games that people are talking about. Sure, there's Palworld, and Palworld's still going strong. Sure, again, every game's going to drop off after launch, but when you're still actively getting 500,000-600,000 people concurrently, that's incredible numbers. Incredible. Every game studio would tell you they will take that 100 times out of 100. But then there was the one biggest thing when they were talking about 2023 being a great year, and then they saying, well, it's because we had to make these job cuts and stuff because the industry wasn't growing. Dude, they made record profits last year. The industry isn't growing because it's your fault. So rather than, and I guarantee this didn't happen because it never happens in these companies, rather than taking pay cuts to save people's jobs because you screwed up as the executives leading the company, you're going to make the difficult decision to let the people go who, a lot in this industry, great industry, still live paycheck to paycheck, especially when they're forced to move to the Pacific Northwest.
Right. Yep.
Where, Grant, you may not know, but Albert knows, in the Pacific Northwest, like anything West Coast, California, Seattle, anything there, what goes as $1 in most places goes as like 10 cents there. Like it's so
it's a whole new level price wise. Yeah.
I mean, I live in London, so you want to talk to me about prices?
Yeah, I live in borderline Canada and I love it. But the idea of that it's because the industry didn't grow bothered me because it has, in every sense of the term, grown. It's people mismanaging that causes these issues, and rather than admit we mismanaged, no, it's an industry problem. No, when you lay off 2,000 people, it's a you problem.
Yep, 100%.
I keep sticking in that point, like all that other damage control. Sure, games coming out fine. Sure, Activision Blizzard games come into Game Pass. Okay, fine. Finally, we expected that. But the idea, like, that's going to eat at me a lot more than I think it should, but it will, because of, especially today, we just have more and more layoff news every day. Aside from Arrowhead Game Studios going, no, we need more people to work. And same with Pocket Pair. We need more people. Those two studios right now are like, no, we need more because we don't have enough to do what we want and to keep up with the demand for our game. Every other studio is laying people off left and right. And it's not just like, 2% of the company. It's always double digits percentage. And I refuse to believe that's because the industry is not growing.
Yeah, like Embracer today coming around with the financial report. They put out 1,600 people across all subsidiaries and brands and whatnot. I think that works out to be 8% of the.
And what was the reason they gave? What was that? to
maximize the shareholders, something or other, to fill the coffers, fill the pockets,
Yeah, so we have one person, Maximus. It didn't grow to what they expected to grow. That's the issue. Yes, but that also comes down to, I mean, when you look at Xbox Game Pass, they expected to have 100 million subscribers to Game Pass by 2030. Unless they go on some massive thing where that's all they focus on, they're not hitting 100 million subscribers, because not only do the prices keep going up on the services, but the interest is there. Like, there's people, especially because there are people that I know, for example, like me, Starfield. I just subscribed to Game Pass to play Starfield. I did a 1 month like free trial subscription that I have laying around because of laptops and stuff I get. I 1 month free trial, played the game, didn't like it, uninstalled, not going to renew because I just did it to do that. So not only did I not buy the game, I did not also become a paying subscriber. And you got to think they understand this is ultimately what a lot of people will do, which I think
churn goes crazy. Yeah.
A lot of people worried maybe they were going to get rid of day one Game Pass, and they seem to double down on, no, we're still having day one Game Pass games. So I guess that's going to make people happy.
I mean, how's that work with tiering? Because I mean, I'll admit I've been a subscriber at Xbox Live Gold Game Pass for the last like 15 years or something ridiculous, like unbroken the amount of money I've given them, over the years. Is it tiered? Because some places do tiers, right? So I think like Ubisoft, they do it with their Plus. I think EA do it with their Play. I think maybe PlayStation does it as well now. Is it like
PlayStation
every tier gets day one?
Every tier. So Xbox Game Pass only has the two tiers. They have core.
It's core and then
Ultimate. Yeah. Ultimate gets everything. Ultimate is Game Pass on PC, on console, day one. Core is just Xbox Live Gold, and then you get the 20 games or 25 games available at all times, the rotating whatever they want at a different time. So they're doing it, and it's granted it is cheaper than the best Netflix subscription you can get. So that is a win. It's only $17 a month, I believe, at this point. $17 a month US, whereas Netflix best subscription is like 23, and that's the comparative place here, the Netflix of games, where PlayStation Plus decides to 40% increase their prices and still not have day one games. That is where a lot of people are mad about that. And I know we get called PlayStation fans all the time. No, I'm a PS5 owner, PlayStation player. Like, I have gone to wherever I'm going to wherever the games I want to play are. I've never been a loyal to
the games drive the industry, man. They always have. I don't know why the public doesn't seem to understand that, but the games always do. Yeah.
When Xbox One came out, a little side tangent, when they announced the Xbox One, so I was at E3. And I had been on 360. I'd been on the original Xbox and GameCube and stuff like that. My friend group, we were all on the 360, and we're all like in our early 20s at this point. We have big boy jobs. We have big boy money. We can finally buy console at launch. And then that Xbox One reveal happened. And immediately we all looked at each other and we're just like, we in a group text. So not looked at each other, text each other. It's like, so we're going PlayStation, right? Because it was so bad. They butchered everything. Like the always online, needing to have the Connect. And then the comment back then of, hey, if you want to play online, we have a console. It's called the 360. That alone let us all go, we don't care what Sony does. We're getting PS4s. Like, that's just what it is. But now we're at that point. People are going to go to where the group decides. It's like the group mentality of what we're going to buy.
Yeah.
And I think Microsoft knows that. Xbox, I think they know that because they kept making comments about playing games anywhere and everywhere. And we saw the updates they have to mobile with the touchscreen controls, with cloud gaming and stuff like that, which I'm going to test out. I'm going to test it out on an iPad and see how it is. I'm going to test it out on my phone and see how it is and if it works. But I still don't feel like they get the situation they're in. Maybe they get it, but I don't know. The way they talked, and maybe it's because we didn't hear enough from Sarah, who maybe could word it better.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like they just might not grasp the full situation they're in.
Yeah, I agree. Phil had a interesting quote there. He was talking about this change in strategy. He was saying it's not a change in strategy, saying that, people are going to play Xbox wherever they want to. Kind of talked about different taglines and strategies, but Xbox is a platform for players who want to reach the most players. It's a platform for the players who want to reach the most, the biggest audience. It's not about the one device. It's about the devices that should be on the services to make them as big as they possibly could be. And that was one of the quotes that he had there regarding it not being a change in strategy.
Yeah, and they doubled down on the dedication to hardware, which I'm sure that made a lot of those people who decided to throw tantrums on Twitter last week,
giving up on Xbox, turning their back on them forever. Like, oh, we're not giving up.
You can't tell me that wasn't the funniest thing. A bunch of granted, we're not all young spring chickens. Grant,
I'm over the hill. I'm 31 now. I'm over the hill.
Yeah. So but seeing people our age and older throwing tantrums about never supporting. I'm like, dude, it's a box to play your games in. Granted, I will always be, and this might be a mix of me yearning for the days of old and then just ideas with the business sense of exclusives and stuff like that. But the idea that you're tying that much of your personality into a box is kind of weird. And I don't know, maybe that's partially Xbox, what they think. If I can I know one of the things, and they're working on it continuously, is the Game Pass just on your smart TV. I think Samsung TVs allow it right now. They might be the only smart TVs that currently allow you to stream it. I know MetaQuest, I have my MetaQuest 3. I can get Game Pass right on there. I don't think I ever will. I'm never going to, when I play a console game, the last thing I'm going to do is put something on my head to play it. I'm going to just sit back and lounge on my couch or in my chair or whatnot. So it's one of those, they are at least I'm giving them credit. They are trying to go where they think people will be.
Yeah. And that's something that, in the chat, Maximus was kind of alluding to when they're going to leaning on tablets, phones, mobile gaming. I mean, it's no big secret, is it? I think they've been kind of moving towards that for a while now. I think everyone is. Mobile is I mean, statistically, it's the biggest market in gaming. It pulls in, I'm pretty sure it generates more revenue than any other kind of vertical in gaming. It's there's crazy money out there. So they're definitely going to be leaning into that. And especially with this play, I mean, we've said it, play everywhere, game everywhere, do whatever. The recent updates with touchscreen, making it more accessible than ever before, broadening the library that you can play remotely. Yeah, they're definitely leaning into that. I don't know exactly how far the remote stuff's going to go. I mean, everyone's kind of whispering about handhelds and stuff, and who knows what that's going to bring one day. But yeah, I think they're going to move way more towards mobile. We all know they want to do it. So.
The handheld thing, that rumor, I don't think is going to go away until they announce yes or no definitively. But I don't think it's a good idea. I think their best idea is take advantage of the handhelds that are already out there and just say, hey, put us on your Steam Deck, put us on your Legion Go, put us on your ROG Ally, put us on your Claw, put us on all your handhelds rather than a dedicated Xbox handheld. I don't think, and they want to talk about, the industry is not growing. I want to talk about you're making bad business decisions, and that's why that to me would be a terrible business decision. Because granted, the PlayStation portable, the device that they just launched, the Portal, it's selling out, but that's because they don't have a lot of products. So they can put one or two at a store. Oh, they're gone, and they claim it as a sellout. It's not like it's a good product or a smart product.
Yeah.
Visceral brings up a good question, because with the Activision Blizzard on Game Pass, wonder how they're going to handle Call of Duty. On the long term, assume they'll go day one, but what if they already throw 2024 on there? If it's tough because Call of Duty is the biggest gaming franchise.
I
in the
can't
world.
see it going day one.
I can't.
see
That's
it.
the one
No.
Activision game I don't
Yeah,
think does it.
Yeah.
They
There's
make
way too much
so
money involved
much
there.
money.
Yep.
Especially
Yeah.
because it's a game that people buy and then go, oh, it's the same game like 2 hours or 3 hours later. But they already bought it.
That's me.
Oh, I do that too. But the thing is, I still play it like actively because it's just something about that sit down. I can just jump into a 6v6 and go. It's a comfort, I think, like that guilty pleasure comfort game for me, which is really weird.
Because I know that when they said, oh, the acquisition comes around, the first thing people were thinking of is, oh my god, every Call of Duty game is going to be on Game Pass or whatever. And I can see them maybe like drip feeding it or doing like collections, like if they suddenly put like every Black Ops game on Game Pass or something, that would be monumental. But I think day one, no. I think they might do it how they do it with maybe like a timed thing, where after X amount of time it comes to Game Pass, maybe like a month or two after or something like that.
Or if they want to do a day one, they put the campaign on Game Pass. Kind of like how they release the campaign.
Yeah.
They do. All right, your campaign's on Game Pass, multiplayer's on multiplayer you got to buy.
Yeah, but do people care enough to dive into the campaign whenever
Did you see the reaction of last year's campaign?
That's why they do it though, isn't that's why they do it now, where they say we're going to put the campaign out a week early because they know people are going to want a taste of COD, and they're historically it's been ignored. I can say that hold my hands up, I've done it myself. You buy Call of Duty for the multiplayer, not the campaign. So splitting them up was a shrewd thing. It's clever. Yeah. Oh, really? You're missing out.
Call of Duty campaign.
3 hours of action last year. It was fantastic.
World at War was the last campaign because they had the co-op. I'll do what is it? The Spec Ops missions I did in Modern Warfare 2 and last year. Those types of co-op things. But the campaign, first person campaigns. If I'm not gonna do those for the gameplay. If I want to deal with the campaign, I want to know the story. Someone is going to post the entire story, all the cutscenes, and I'll just watch it as a movie. That's kind of how I do first person campaigns. So we're going to start wrapping up soon. We want to thank everybody who has joined us here. This is a first. This is a pilot. I think it's gone really well. Make sure you like this video. You subscribe to Insider Gaming. The likes help us grow and help us know that we should keep doing this. But we're going to wrap it up with Brandon, who is one of our writers at Insider Gaming, does great list work.
Very talented individual.
Is their goal, them being Xbox and Microsoft, to be a service and not focus on consoles, maybe just a streaming box? They keep saying they're going to focus. They're still going to be hardware.
We started talking about them.
In a way, you can already call the Series S a streaming box because
they just kind of keep leaning into it. Yeah.
Like,
well, this is at the start of the call. At the start of the session, we were talking about Keystone, where they come out with this super cheap cloud console that's a set-top box, small thing, reliant on Wi-Fi, and that's literally about it. But HDMI cable and an Ethernet input or something, and then a controller, and then that's it. And you can get your Game Pass and whatever on as a service.
Yeah, and
it would be like $100 or something.
Yeah, you don't need a hard drive. You don't need anything like that. Granted,
right?
They can't. Where I see it, they can't just fully abandon the consoles, the standard consoles with the hard drive, because, especially in America, where their biggest selling audience is, they don't do well internationally. Like, they don't do well compete, but North America is where they sell the most of their systems. In North America, in the United States, I've said this ad nauseum on Twitter, on everywhere. Internet infrastructure is awful, especially in the Midwest of this country, unless you're at a major metropolitan city like Chicago or Denver or something like that. It is bad. So even when you have like mediocre internet, you're not going to be able to rely on, I have to be connected perfectly at all times to stream this game. I want, especially for like single player games, story games, even if you have to be connected to the internet to play, it's a lot easier to I just have to have an established connection, but the game is on my machine, as opposed to, not only do I have to have the established connection, but also now I have to rely on that connection to play the game as well, even if I'm just playing by myself. So I don't think they'll ever fully abandon the consoles, but that idea of like an Ouya like box, or even like a Roku or a Fire Stick that just plugs in, and everything's wireless that way, I could see it. I think it works, and I think that would be the way to go for them, because people gaming on the go, you bring that to a hotel, that's you're set.
Oh, that could be huge. Yeah, especially portable like that. You just stick it in your pocket, like you're alluding to with the rope.
Yeah.
And then you put it through the laundry one time, and then you realize you're an idiot. You know,
Right.
All right, guys. As we wrap up, let everybody know where they can find you.
I like Granko first.
Well, they can find me. I mean, how can I? I mean, I'm at Newkov on Twitter with a little cheeky underscore at the end. It's my name in the chat, Newkov. That's let me just type it so my name comes up like twice with the thing. That's where I'm at Newkov. On basically, I think if you search for Newkov, you either get me or you get like there's some. I think they're like Scandinavian club music artists or something. But that's not me. I'm the gaming guy. But yeah. Also, GTH Grant Taylor Hill. If you guys look me up, that's I'm the only person in the world with that name, so you're guaranteed to find me.
Nice, bro. Yeah, for me, guys, if you want to hit me up, I'm over on Twitter, X, whatever you kids are calling it these days, at the Weekly Wrap Up. I'm over there. Obviously, I'm doing Insider Weekly each and every single week. Make sure you guys catch that exclusively on Insider Gaming's YouTube channel right here, of course. And you can also catch me over on my personal YouTube channel, the Weekly Wrap Up, youtube.com/@the-weekly-wrap-up if you want to check some of my personal stuff over there.
And I'm just Mike Straw Media everywhere. I have that brand on lock. Every
makes it
social
so
media
easy.
platform, website,
That's what I should have did.
everywhere. It is everywhere. Visceral did make one comment. They said all first-party games are coming day one Game Pass, but is COD not a first-party title now? It is, but I think that's going to be treated differently. And they could still split it up and do the campaign and still not really lie, I guess. But like, yeah, the campaign, it's day one. So we'll see what happens. I'm interested to see what happens. We have 8 months before the next Call of Duty comes out, so we have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Until next time, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to visit insider-gaming.com. Check us out on Twitter at InsiderGamingIG. Subscribe here at Insider Gaming on YouTube. Until next time, we're out.
Peace out, guys.